Hello and welcome everybody. This is Sergio. We're starting our new video recap lecture titled All About Remarketing Campaigns. Hope you've enjoyed the written lecture that you went over to get an understanding of what this video lecture is going to be all about. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So as you can see, we're on the Google homepage right now, and we're going to go ahead and dive over to an AdWords account that we've been working with to go ahead and start our first remarketing campaign. As always, we're going to go ahead and click on our big red plus campaign button here. And to create a remarketing campaign, since we are going to be serving image ads to a wide audience of past visitors, we're going to select the display network only. As you can see, the icon here shows the little display blocks, which are used to represent the image ads that you see when you surf the web on websites that allow image advertising on their sites. So we'll go ahead and get started. The first thing you're going to need to do is give your campaign a name. I'm going to label it Remarketing Test Campaign. And you usually have the option to choose here between selecting a marketing objective, such as the ones below, which are templated and cookie cutter type of campaign setups that do have some limitations. So I'm going to recommend for the students taking this course to always select no marketing objective, all features, so that you can get access to all of the features that display campaigns and specifically remarketing campaigns have to offer. So once you have that clicked, you can choose to load campaigns settings from other remarketing campaigns, or simply just replicate your location targeting settings and your language settings, your budget settings. I'm going to go ahead and, like always, put 0.01 or something that's very small, so that once I'm done building my campaigns, I can go back and actually apply the right type of budgets to them based off of my budgeting. And the next thing you're going to do is scroll down here to the bottom. You're not going to worry about using ad extensions, since we're just using remarketing campaigns that are going to be image ads. And skip over the advanced settings. You don't need to worry about that. This is going to allow you to do start date, end date. Actually, you do want to set your ad schedule. So, if you're worried about your image ads showing to people as they surf the web at the wrong times of the day because you really want to drive phone calls, and maybe you don't have representatives able to take phone calls in the middle of the night, then maybe you want to turn off your remarketing campaign. Generally, remarketing is a good idea to keep it running 24 hours a day, just because you never know when people that may have come to your site in the past are surfing the web. Right now, it's 11 o'clock at night while I'm doing this learning course. And, after this, I'm probably going to check my email, surf the web a little bit, and I might see a remarketing ad. So, it's usually for branding purposes, getting your name out there and really reminding people that you're around before they're making a decision to either purchase something or sign up for a service. So I recommend letting it run all day and, tinkering with the results and looking at the daytime reports in the future if you'd like to see if it's really worth turning it off at nighttime. So that's where you would set that. You don't really need to worry about any of these other ones here. Save and continue at the bottom here. Like always, you're going to have to give your ad group a name. So you can change it here. I'm just going to leave it, since this is a test campaign and I'm not going to really run. And I'm going to put, again, something very, very low to ensure that I don't start running ads as soon as I hit save and continue, because I want to build out this campaign and optimize it, add some custom remarketing lists before I get started. Speaking of which, remarketing lists, interest in remarketing is the option you're going to want to choose here for the how to target your ads selection. And what you're going to want to do is here, click on remarketing lists. Now, you probably don't have any set up like I do. As you can see here, I have some remarketing lists that are pretty specific. For example, leisure lifts are basically lift systems that can help you lift your wheelchair or scooter in your vehicle. So if you put a hitch on the back of your vehicle and you want to transport your scooter or wheelchair that's very heavy duty, there's a company that manufactures them called Leisure Lift, and these are visitors who have maybe added a leisure lift item to their cart but never purchased. So maybe they got interrupted by dinner as they were shopping and they left and never came back to make the purchase. So I've got a really neat audience list that's very, very specific, which I would then create an image ad that shows the lift systems manufactured by Leisure Lift, with a call to action that says, come back now and purchase the Leisure Lift system that you showed interest in, and maybe offer some sort of discount or incentive. So this is how you would go to add your remarketing list, this ad group, but you don't have any yet. So we're going to have to come back here, leave this open. Towards the bottom here where it says let AdWords automatically find new customers, that's one way for Google to get you to spend more money. It's not needed. If you know what you're doing, you can get just the right type of audience members without letting Google algorithmically try to find new ones, which in my experience doesn't really work too well. So you can either hit save and continue here, or just skip ad group creation, come back and create your ad group when you have your lists ready. But I wanted you to become familiar with this create your ad group page and how to select the target type as well as the remarketing lists. Now, to create your remarketing lists, what you're going to need to do is go inside Google Analytics. At this point, you should already have Google Analytics synchronized with your AdWords account so that you can create remarketing lists within Analytics that then get imported into AdWords. Now, as you can see, I've clicked on the admin section of my Google Analytics profile, and in the middle under the property view, I'm going to go ahead and click on remarketing. Here you can click on audiences to start building out your audiences. And as you can see, I've got a ton of them already here. Well, 19 of them, not a ton. But we're going to go ahead and click on one of them first. I want to show you an example of how it was created, and then create one from scratch, which essentially you'll be able to see the same everything from start to finish when I go through this. So you're able to choose which view. If you have many views within your Google Analytics profile, views are basically used to create duplicate copies of your reporting profile. So let's say, for example, you have an unfiltered view, which is used to track all visitors, but you also want to have a secondary view that filters out your business associates or colleagues that you work with in your office that go to your site every single day, and you just want to remove that data. So you can apply IP filters to block that data out, which I've done. And hence I've named my view internal IP filters added. There's also an all website data filtered, an all website data view, which is unfiltered and unmodified. So I have all of my data there, unaffected and completely raw there. But I'm going to work with my internal IP filters added so that I don't remarket to the people that work in the office or the client's office, for example, that you're working with. The destination account is obviously the Google AdWords account that you've linked with. You may have multiple AdWords account linked with the same Google Analytics view, or account rather. So you may want to choose the most appropriate one. So we're going to click next step here. And this is where you can kind of see the conditions and the demographics that I've created for my audience list. I'm going to click on the pencil here to hit edit. And this is the exact page that you'll be directed to when you click on create new remarketing list. There's a lot of options to the left here, the first being demographics. And this is based off of the Google account that the website user or search engine user has created through Google. And when creating a Google account, you enter your age, your gender, your language, affinity category, all of that stuff you can use to your advantage. What I'm going to recommend taking advantage of is simply the locations here, so that you can ensure the only people entering your list are from a certain location that makes sense for your business model. In this case, I want only people from the United States. You can create rules to only show ads to certain people based off of the technology settings here, like operating system, browser, device category, but I think this is getting a little too granular for most people taking this course, and it's really not going to be of too much use here. You can feel free to tinker with them. They are pretty straightforward. The behavior segments here allow you to also do some pretty advanced things, such as session duration thresholds. Let's say, for example, you only want people that have spent X amount of time on your site, you can put a session duration filter here that is, either equals to, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to certain seconds. So you can put maybe 60 seconds here, and that will mean that anybody who meets all of these rules on top of the 60-second threshold rule will enter your audience list. But the real, component that I want to stress and show the value in is really in the advanced section under conditions. Let's go over just the other tabs here before we get there, though. The data first session you can kind of use to filter out people who have maybe have come to your site a long time ago or recently, if you find a reason to do so. I never really use this setting either. Traffic sources I do sometimes use. Maybe I only want to get people who found the website via a certain source, like let's say Google only or Bing only or Facebook only or referral traffic from a certain website. You can start to tinker with those settings. Sometimes it's useful. I can't really say that I've used it too much, but in the past I have only created remarketing lists that include people who have come to the site using Google as the source. And the medium, I don't really care if it's PPC or organic, because at the end of the day, search engine users are a good target, whereas direct visitors or Facebook referral visitors may not be a good fit for my remarketing list. We're going to go ahead and skip over e-commerce because this is really something that is really not highly important, and we're going to cover a lot of that with the conditions tab. So with this specific remarketing list, I am, as you can see here, using some filters that are based off of the user session and what landing page they entered the site through. So for example, here, I've required the visitors that enter this remarketing list to have entered the site via a certain page on my website, which is a brand page that shows all of the mobility scooters manufactured by a brand named Aficum. If you sell Nike or sneakers and you sell Reebok and Nike and Adidas sneakers, you might want to create a specific remarketing list for people that have entered the site via your Nike sneakers page, and that remarketing list will use image ads that actually show Nike sneakers, so that the visitors who were interested in maybe buying a Nike sneaker but never did can be reminded that, hey, you're a website that offers Nike sneakers at a great price and all the value that you offer that makes you unique as a Nike reseller. Now, in this case, the client's selling mobility scooters, and there are many manufacturers that they sell mobility scooters for, and this is one of them, Aficum. So we've created a landing page rule that says they must have entered the site via this page, or a landing page that contains Scooter. So that essentially is saying anything with Scooter here in the beginning of the URL, such as these other three that are showing, will be covered. So this is one way to kind of be efficient and not have to put three different rules, or this landing page and compile a bunch of rules, but instead just use one that covers them all by using the contains feature instead of the exactly matches feature. So let's say you wanted to also add another one, just maybe you have a certain URL or a blog post that is a product review for an Aficum mobility scooter in this case. You can then choose to include more landing page requirements using the or statement that either contain or exactly match the URL that you're thinking of. So here's a list of all the URLs that you can that it's recommending, and that's just one way to kind of further fine-tune your filter options here. To remove this, I'm going to hit the minus sign, and it's gone. Also, I applied a secondary rule filter here by clicking the Add Filter button that says we need to exclude visitors who have navigated to a certain page, and that page is my checkout page. So essentially what's happening here is I don't want to show these ads to people who have already bought a mobility scooter by Aficum. I want to remarket to people who have just showed an interest in it only, so that hopefully they do end up buying it. So this is a pretty straightforward example here to where we've created one specific remarketing list for people that have shown interest in one particular brand of a certain product, which are, in this case, mobility scooters. But again, it doesn't matter what you're selling or what you're offering as a service for that matter. Let's say you're a lawyer and you offer legal assistance for divorce cases as well as DUI cases. You may have, or hopefully you do, have pages on your website that touch on those types of services, those specialty legal services such as DUI defense, and then a separate page for divorce court type of procedures and hearings. So what you would do if you wanted to create remarketing lists for each type of those prospects that may need your legal assistance as a lawyer is create one unique remarketing list that says only include people in this remarketing list that have entered the landing page www.mywebsite.com/ whatever the URL is for your DUI defense case page here, and maybe any other pages that talk about DUI help using the or statement and another landing page filter here. And then that is how you would create a remarketing list that is only going to show ads to specific people that have showed interest in a specific service, that being DUI attorney type of assistance or legal aid, or vice versa, divorce court type of legal aid or counsel. So segmenting your audience list using these types of filters are great. And instead of using a checkout conversion as a secondary filter and excluding those, let's say you're a service provider, maybe you don't want to remarket to people who have already called you or filled out a form on your website, since you've already generated that opportunity, and that's essentially a lead, a conversion. These are kind of some of the best practices. You know, maybe you want to have a remarketing list for people that have already contacted you or made a purchase, but you want to have a unique ad group and remarketing list for those visitors. So what I would do is create a remarketing list for people that have already purchased a product and show an image ad that would appeal and make sense from an advertising standpoint to those people that have already purchased a product or contacted you and turned into an opportunity by saying, hey, we know you've already done business with us in your image ad. Here's a 10% off your next purchase for existing customers coupon. That's a great, kind of a simple way to re-engage past visitors who have already made a purchase or contacted you. Or, if you're a service provider, the image ad for that person who already filled out your form or called you can say, thank you for contacting us. Just to let you know, we're having a special for a limited time only this week. Give us a call to find out more. Something to re-engage those visitors that have already contacted you, but using a unique remarketing list for that person and a very highly customized and tailored image ad set for those audience lists. So we're going to go ahead and click the cancel button. I'm going to cancel out since I've already created that one. Again, if I click the new audience button, I'm basically going to go through the exact same steps that we just went through, but I'll show you. You can use already existing lists here, but I don't recommend them. I like creating my own. So I'm going to click on, I'm going to click on create new and go through, like I said, the same exact steps that we just went through. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to hit cancel. Now you get an idea as to how to create that remarketing list. So again, as a recap for creating your remarketing lists, what you want to do is mess around with the different options in the conditions tab, create remarketing lists that are going to allow you to really segment your audience lists, and of course follow through with creating really good image ads for those audience lists that talk about the services or products that your past website visitors showed interest in based off of the pages they entered your site with, or other metrics and conditions that you can come up with while searching through the library of different options that you can use for creating your remarketing lists. I'm going to go ahead and end this video now for a quick break, and we'll dive into using your audience lists in AdWords during the next video recap lecture. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.